Today is Friday, September 16, 2016. Gina is pleased to bring you today's edition of the Government News Brief. In the news, thousands of NIS pensioners' benefits are now secured, Guyana participates in high-level security meetings overseas, and the official residence of the Prime Minister opens as heritage site. Stay tuned as we bring you the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Azim Khan. Here now are the details. Almost 180,000 beneficiaries of the National Insurance Scheme can now breathe a sigh of relief. The government is committed to repaying billions of dollars invested in the colonial life insurance company CLICO that was lost under the former People's Progressive Party civic administration.
The Minister of Finance, on behalf of the Government of Guyana, today signed a debenture agreement with the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, for an aggregated value of $5.6 billion.
The present government, while in opposition, did signal that this situation could not continue, that it was untenable. A resolution to this effect, that the then government should do what it possibly can to help NIS recover its money or find alternative means of getting them back their money. The resolution was actually passed in Parliament, but nothing was done.
The NIS currently has approximately 50,000 pensioners and more than 130,000 contributors. Faced with rising administrative costs associated with pensions and other benefits to contributors outstripping collections, NIS General Manager Dury Nelson welcomes the gesture by government.
It is certainly good to finally have this matter out of suspension and a decision made in terms of the guarantee that was given some years ago. We are extremely happy. I'm sure that you are aware of where we are financially, because this has always been told to you, particularly on our anniversary. And so we find that this is a timely intervention.
Meanwhile, Minister Jordan laments the social and economic cost that the failed investment has on the nation coffers and citizens.
It's a sad day for the taxpayer of Guyana, because it is the taxpayer who has to bear these sets of payments over the next 20 years. And in excess of $5.89 billion is going to be diverted to meet these payments. So just consider what that kind of money could have done for other areas, be their wages or infrastructure or other running costs of the government.
The more than $5 billion payment represents a balance of the money the NIS lost in an investment made through CLICO under the previous government. The NIS also has billions of dollars invested in the Berbice Bridge Company, a public-private partnership which continues to fail to pay dividends to the scheme as a government investor. For this Government News Brief, Namila Henry Rowe.
Guyana will be attending a number of security meetings overseas. Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramchatan will be at two very important ones starting next week. More in this report.
Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramchatan will be attending the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, 2016 Security Week in Buenos Aires, Argentina, from September 26 to 29. Minister of State Joseph Harmon says Guyana was invited by the IDB and the Argentine government.
This activity will include the 4 regional dialogues on security policy by Minister of Security and Justice of the Latin America and the Caribbean, and the 8th security clinic with experts in the security sector. It's a very important meeting that the Vice President will be attending.
Lead regional authorities discussed the challenges and progress of security policies, where the Regional Policy Dialogue is a focal point of the meeting. Security Week is an annual meeting that provides a means of knowledge exchange and experience in pressing challenges faced in the security sectors of Latin America and the Caribbean. Guyana will also be represented by a research officer from the Ministry of Public Security at the 5th Caribbean Basin Security Initiative (CBSI) Commission meeting in Trinidad and Tobago from September 29 to 30, according to Minister Harmon.
This meeting will be convened by the CARICOM Secretariat to be part of the preparatory process for the 6th Caribbean United States Cooperation Security Dialogue.
The Caribbean United States Cooperation Security Dialogue will be held in Washington, D.C. in October. The CBSI was established by the United States and comprises CARICOM countries and the Dominican Republic. The cooperation is aimed at building capacity in law enforcement agencies and other initiatives with the aim of holistically addressing crime and security in the Caribbean region. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Updated educational and instructional materials to be provided to strengthen universal health coverage. Find out more in this report.
The Ministry of Public Health will be placing more emphasis towards providing updated educational instructional materials to strengthen universal health coverage systems. PAHU WHO representative Dr. William Adukro explains.
They did a review and came up with the fact that whether it's the universities, whether it's the nursing colleges, some of them were having books as dating as far back as in latter part of 1980s. We keep talking about the fact that our nursing students are not doing too well. If that's the case, then we must give them the tools to prepare them better.
The launch of the expanded textbook and instructional materials program PALTEX, which provides cost-effective and efficient high-quality instructional materials for medical personnel, was lauded for its timeliness by Director of Regional Health Services, Dr. K. Sheku.
It comes at a time when Guyana is building capacity in the most needed areas, like nursing and the non-traditional clinical technical programs, the medics community health workers program, multipurpose technicians, and environmental health assistant programs.
The Ministry of Public Health will also seek to further support the PALTEX program by upgrading health education learning facilities by having updated material available to students and those in the health sector. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
Students of several secondary schools in Georgetown were the first to visit the official residence of the Prime Minister, as the Heritage Building was today officially opened as an exhibit. We have the details in this report. Spearheading the tours as the tour guide of the Prime Minister's official residence, Mrs. Sita Nagamutu will be engaging students and teachers of several secondary schools in Georgetown.
I think it's only fitting that we allow our children to come in and walk through and see what a heritage building looks like. And also, this is Education Month, and I think if the children had this opportunity, the opportunity that they're now having to visit this residence, they will be also having the opportunity to view a lot of antique items, and they will get to understand more about their history.
Mrs. Nagamutu, who is an educator and former lecturer of the Cyril Potter College of Education, told Gina that it is her desire to liberate the residence, as it is one of Guyana's heritage buildings. Visitors are in for a historic treat with photographs and paintings of historic buildings, sites and monuments in Guyana.
There's lots of history around here that the children can pick up bits and pieces. And I hope they will enjoy their visit, and we will continue to open up the building for schools and other institutions to come in and visit.
The building, now called the official residence of the Prime Minister of Guyana, was constructed in the 19th century for use by Mr. Sandbach. It was purchased by Booker Brothers Limited in 1911. Subsequently, in 1962, it was acquired by the British government and became the home of the British High Commissioner. Finally, in 1987, it was acquired by the government of Guyana. It is the first time in many years that the official residence of the Prime Minister is open to the public for viewing of its heritage significance. The official residence of the Prime Minister and State House, the official residence of the President, are two heritage buildings, along with several others located along Main Street, Georgetown, a route which the government intends to have registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Support at the regional level is needed for development of sports in Indigenous communities. Find out more in this report.
The call was made today at the opening of the Indigenous Heritage Games at the Everest Sports Ground for regional officers to make provision for sports in their budget proposals. Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido Lowe, says it is the only way Indigenous athletes can develop efficiently.
Regional officers should make sure that budget for sports is being put in their regional budget. So that before the Heritage Games, you must have a knockout competition. I know that many of you try against all odds because lack of funds and maybe not too much encouragement from the region, but we have to do better than that.
The intention, Minister Guidolo says, is to have Indigenous athletes on your national teams, whether cricket, football or volleyball, and eventually to represent Guyana at the Olympic Games. The Minister says that the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs and the Department of Sports will continue to support Indigenous sports. Director of Sports Christopher Jones, who wished the athletes luck on the 3 days of games, also echoed the sentiments of Minister Lowe of giving support where needed for the development of sport in the Indigenous communities.
We are high on the 2020 Tokyo Games. So let's see some of the talents that you have. So we will know exactly where to focus our attention, in which particular region, to identify whether it's archery, whether it's football, whether it's track and field, whether it's swimming.
The Indigenous Heritage Games kicked off today with a march past from the participants and a game of football. Over the next 2 days of sports, tug of war, tomb eating competition, fire lighting competition, archery, firewood bursting competition and swimming will add to the excitement of the Heritage Games. Isaiah Braffett, the Government News Brief.
We have come to an end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. GINA has an active Facebook page and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Remember to join us again on Monday when the Government Information Agency, GINA, brings you another edition of this, the Government News Brief. Have a safe weekend and thank you for watching.